A couple of weeks ago, I had the great pleasure of interviewing the two guys from Haggard Cat, Matt and Tom. Matt did all the speaking. Tom was next to Matt. I like to think he got involved a bit as well. This is the second part of that interview. Hope you dig.
Mistakes are easy to make, and bones so easy to break. I never think of the times I do. The time has come to be honest brutally. Sometimes a many, some are few. So I relapse, stitches stacked in my back. I'm unremarkable.
I haven't had the chance to see you guys as a two-piece play yet. Next time you're in Nuts, I'll be sure to come see.
Awesome.
But from the live videos of you guys playing, I've seen on YouTube, and I also saw Heck a few times. You perform with such a lot of intensity. How do you kind of keep that up over the course of a tour? Because your throat must hurt by the end. You know, you must get pretty tired playing. How do you maintain that?
I mean, we're generally pretty well behaved on tour, especially these days. I mean, like earlier in my Heck, and especially when it was Baby Godzilla's career, we were we probably pushed it a lot more like outside of gigs.
Right.
But now, you know, we're getting older. We look after ourselves a lot more. Like I always make sure I warm up everything before I play, as does Tom.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially vocally, like if I'd resent myself if I ever missed a vocal warm up before we play, and then the next day I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
We owe kind of doing our absolute best to everyone that comes along every night. Mm-hmm. And if we weren't doing that, that would feel a bit kind of shitty from us. So yeah, like I guess the key to keeping it up and maintaining the intensity is just kind of knowing your limits outside of the gig and then throwing everything that you absolutely can into the gig when you're playing, because that's the most important part. Like, don't think about everything. Don't think about yourself outside of the gig. Just always be thinking about that end product all day, every day of the tour. You've got to do 45 minutes of this absolute 100% the best you can be every night, and that should be when you're on.
Right. When Heck split up about halfway through last year, I know the last gig was the Arctangent one, I believe.
It was, yeah. It was actually on my birthday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was a very weird day.
Yeah, I bet. I haven't read anywhere as to the reasons why you guys stopped the project. So I just wanted to ask from a fan point of view, what happened?
I mean, to be honest, we haven't actually issued anything officially at all about why we chose to stop. But the long and short of it is we were feeling kind of less impassioned to continue.
Right.
And a Heck show, by the very nature of it, had to be completely sincerely passionate, and it had to be from the heart. And if we were jumping around and shouting into people's faces and putting as much blood, sweat and tears as we were into that, there's no way of faking it. And if we were faking it, that would kind of lose the edge that we'd gotten from being that live band for all those years. Like, what kind of set us apart from any other band that had exactly the same amount of energy is we meant it. And if we stopped meaning it and continued doing it, I think we'd lose all respect for ourselves, as I think anyone watching quite rightly would. Well,
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a very short reason why. There's lots of contributing factors, but as well, it's kind of important for us now that we're all still friends.
Yeah.
And if we continued, and if we weren't feeling sincere about it anymore, and we still continued in vain just because we felt we had to, there's a good chance we wouldn't still be friends now.
For sure.
So yeah, there's a short answer.
So going forward then with Haggard Cat, have you started a new record? Are you just concentrating on this tour? What's the goal in a year's time, you know?
Okay, so with Haggard Cat, so we're going to get through this festival season. We're pushing to just tour. We want to get Challenger into as many ears as possible, like for the next 12 months. That is the plan, and we're trying to get absolutely here, there, and everywhere. Like we've got a couple of big support tours coming up that we can't quite tell you what they are just yet because they haven't been announced.
Okay.
But like looking towards September, October time, it's looking like it's we're going to be playing bigger venues, and different pockets of fans as well that haven't had the chance to hear what it is we do yet, which is really exciting because we want to see how people react to it and how people find these songs. Like even hear you say that one of your favorite tracks from the album is Goldberg. That's really nice to hear because you don't always get that feedback immediately.
Yeah.
So playing it live and kind of seeing people react in real time to it, it's going to be really nice. See which songs they like the best. And yeah, that's kind of the plan. Like this year into the start of next year. Like I mentioned earlier, we've seen the album kind of appear in photos in American record shops and Japanese record shops. Like we just kind of want to get out there and get to those countries as well, explore, travel, and just play as much as we can, like 3 gigs a day if we have to. And then you might even see some new music come out of us as early as next year. We don't know yet, but we're writing like the 3rd album's already kind of underway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we're always writing.
That's good to hear. With the new tracks, do you reckon you'll try them out live before putting them on the record, or do you like to keep it in a bubble and then show it to everyone?
That's a very good question. I think in a perfect world, we'd kind of keep everything under wraps and then release everything all at once and it'll all be there. But we get so excited about stuff that chances are we'll as soon as everything's written, we'll start playing it because we can't keep it in. We're just too excitable about things like that.
Cool, man. Having seen you guys play and just the energy you put into it, not everyone has that fire in them, at least when I've seen other people perform. I just wonder, what is it you think drives you to kind of such extremes of energy and passion in what you're making?
I think it's honestly just because we don't have a lot else other than music. Like it's what we both really love. It's what we feed off, and like what we really believe in, and what we think we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So like we don't have in the back of our mind, tomorrow I'm going off to do this other thing. I've got a really important meeting at work, or I've got a really important summit that I have to attend, or something like that.
Nice.
Like I don't know. Yeah, people have their things.
Yeah,
our thing has always been 100% committed to making like music as an art form, and that's what we think we're supposed to do, and that's why our 100% undivided passion goes into that.
Right.
It's probably where the fire comes from.
And when you say supposed to do, what exactly do you mean by that?
It probably sounds a little corny, but I guess it's a calling, isn't it? There's got to be a reason everyone's here to do something. And yeah, that's it's what we love. You should be here to do what you love.
Sure, nice, and that leads nicely into without getting too personally financial, keeping up the level of touring that you do must be tricky, as well as being able to eat food and stuff, which requires money. So how have you guys kind of found the balance to be prolific, both touring and creatively, as well as
actually financially?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, you do need money to eat. We have kind of noticed that over the but yeah, we strike a balance. Luckily, like we've both got jobs that are like. We're very lucky enough to have jobs that are understanding that we are going to disappear for months at a time. Like, and we've built up that relationship with our works that they're kind of like, right, they're going away for now, and we'll exist for 2, 3, 4 weeks, not earning money for a little while, and kind of the money will slowly thin out. Yeah. And we'll just get better at being frugal. Okay. And then we'll go back to work for a month and then back again. But we generally find if you don't stop moving, then it all kind of works out in the end. We're not going to starve anytime soon. We have some great friends. Like if ever we did kind of fall on hard times. But
Yeah.
so far, so good. We've been lucky. We've managed to keep it up for years and years and years. Like, even when at times for both of us it seemed almost impossible for us to do another week with no money. Like, we always find a way. There's always, like, if you've got that drive, there's a way through. There's a way to do it.
Sure.
But yeah, like I say, we're lucky. We're very, very lucky. And we like hardships that we kind of talk about of, we can't eat so much on this tour, we can't do this, we can't afford to do that. It's nothing compared to what a lot of people might feel.
Right.
So yeah, no, I feel like we're in a very lucky position to kind of be able to keep making music all the time and go out on these tours. Like, we're lucky enough to have jobs outside of that. So yeah, it's a balance that seems more difficult to maintain than it actually is.
Right. Okay. That's very positive. It's good to hear.
Yeah.
You're not like starving.
Positivity is key.
Yeah, for sure. With a project like this, the music isn't necessarily as niche as previous projects have been, but what's your idea of success for it? I know that's a really corny question.
No, not at all.
But what's the target?
I guess our idea of success would be for us to be able to release a body of music, be an EP or an album, and then tour that in every territory, like of the world, every territory for like the year after or the couple of years after, until we're ready to release the next one. And that to be our life is to always kind of constantly be either on the road or in a room writing, or even writing it in a room away from home on the road, like, but always kind of be out making music 24/7, as opposed to kind of having anything else to think about, like, for example, day jobs that we briefly mentioned before. Like, I think that would be success. It wouldn't be financial success necessarily, although it would be nice. And it wouldn't even be kind of hugely popular success. It'd just be about having enough people that want to listen to it and kind of desire new music from us, for us to be able to consistently record and release and tour, record, release and tour. That would be success.
Okay. And who are your influences on this project? Because you can make easy comparisons to like Jack White and other kind of fuzzy guitar with not simple drums, but like drums for the song type thing. Who do you gain inspiration from for this project in particular?
Like, who do we cite? Well, to like, obviously, yeah, you obviously are going to draw like comparisons with people like Jack White and Dan Auerbach of Black Keys, like, and quite rightly so. We are fans of those musicians. They're absolutely amazing to us. The music that they've made over the years have really kind of shaped how we write songs, how we take in music. Yeah. But we still pull in like a load of influences kind of from the more hardcore scene. Like, we've both always been kind of big like Chariot fans, like bands like Converge as well. Are huge to us. That energy is really important to what we want to make. But also, like, there's probably both of our favourite band at the minute is a band called Racket Cannon from Belgium. They're a band that we toured with in the UK as Heck. We took them on our album run, and they've took us out to Belgium and Europe before, and they're just honestly one of the greatest live bands like in the world, and I kind of don't say that lightly. They are incredible. And they're kind of a lot more art rocky, kind of mixed in with riff and metal as well. As well as that, like, I'm a huge Paul Simon fan. I think he writes beautiful songs and beautiful phrases, and kind of looks at lyric writing in a way that no one else does. He tells stories, and and that's something that I've always wanted to be able to achieve from lyric writing as well. It's quite easy for bands, especially rock bands, to kind of write all the music and then think about lyrics last and not think that important, so rely on cliche after rhyming cliche. And that's not really what either of us are into and not what we listen to. Like, there's nothing worse than kind of listening to a piece of music and thinking it's amazing until the lyrics come in and then saying something really cheesy and being like, yeah, no, that's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
So I'd say like I'm more influenced by the classical songwriters than I am even people like the White Stripes or Black Keys. Black Keys to me have notoriously poor lyrics, but great music. Yeah. So I think it's good to take the energy from the musical side and then bring your own poetic side, as it was, from the writing.
Sure.
But yeah, like there's too many influences to kind of say all in one go. Like, there's so many bands out there that we've both listened to over the years, but with it just being the two of us, I guess we wear them on our sleeves because it's hard to get away from. There's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah, for sure. Do you ever think about doing more acoustic numbers then?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think what can kind of make or break an album is it being all kind of 100% like up to 11 rock all the way through with no areas of light and shade. Like, acoustic is just another thing we've worked with, but I think rather than it being your typical kind of troubadour acoustic number, it'd be more kind of like lush kind of swooping arrangement. So there'd be acoustic and there'd be kind of more of a bluegrassy like arrangement there with, we're thinking, fiddles and banjos and mandolins. Like, I'd want to kind of create a fullness in that way, as well. But yeah, like there's so much kind of room for us to explore on the next album, the album after that, like with what we can do. And yeah, it's kind of an exciting place to be that we can think about that now.
Grave digger!
You mentioned Dark Side of the Moon being, one of your favorite records.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
and so being a Floyd fan, do you think you're ever going to do something more along the lines of, say, a concept album with like a continual narrative or story?
It's something that I've always wanted to do, and that's all thanks to Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of hit on it a little bit on the last Tech record. There's a 3-part song with a big long outro to it as well, which kind of tells its own little story, and that goes on for 16 and a half minutes, I think it is. There's longer versions that exist out there, but the final version was that, and that was kind of our ode to that. But to kind of recreate something similar over the space of the whole album, I think that'd be something it's a huge ask and a huge task, but I think the payoff to that once we've created it would be amazing. Like, you've hit on it 100%. It's something I've always thought of, and you may be likely to see at some point in the future.
Awesome, man. Great, cool. We'll close up there, but thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, no problem, Harry.
Fab. All right, cheers, man. Have a great gig and a great tour. Speak to you soon.
Tom says bye.
Bye, Tom.
Harry says bye. Right, see you later, man.
All right, see you, man. Bye.
Have a good one.